Hello, I'm Ms. Gluskin. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about exams to get you start thinking about it and not being so nervous about it. Don't worry, it's okay. You can do it. So, it's been a while since we've had exams. It doesn't matter what grade you're in. We just want you to be prepared. You don't have to be scared. It's going to be okay. Please remember, you need to calm down when we're talking about this. There's no need to panic. We're going to give you all the information you need to make this work. You should know that an exam is different from a test. That doesn't need to freak you out. It's okay. It's just information at this point. Usually a test is on one unit or topic and counts for a smaller percentage of your mark, whereas an exam is usually on the whole course, or at least a course-wide theme, and it counts for a larger percentage of your mark. Your teacher will tell you about your course exam, if you even have one, so don't worry. You can start getting ready now. Even though exams aren't until January, you can make sure that you're very organized right now. Binders, papers, folders on your Google Classroom or Brightspace. Make sure you know where everything is. If you have random pictures on your phone, that they're in the appropriate folder. Just floating around out there is not really going to help you. Also remember that you need to plan ahead for your study time. December and January will go very quickly, of course, because of the holidays. So it's important to look at your calendar, whether on your phone or in a paper agenda, and make some plans for when you're going to study. There isn't going to necessarily be a lot of in-class study time. That will depend on the course. So if you look at this on an actual calendar of January, you see that we come back to school after the Christmas break on the 9th, and then there's about 2 weeks of classes, and then exams start on the 25th. And the last day of class is on the 24th. So you're certainly not going to study the night before everything. You're not going to be able to do that. That's okay. It just requires planning. This video is just going to give you an introduction to things, but we want to say that you can't just read your notes or your textbook in place of studying. That's not studying. That's a good starting place, but that's not studying. Studying has to be active. You have to be doing something. Here's just a few examples. You could make flashcards. Then you could quiz yourself or have someone quiz you on the keywords and ideas. Now, the making of the flashcards is actually part of the studying process. You need to determine what are the key words, what are the key ideas. Then you need to write out the definitions or the details. And that's a lot of learning that goes on while you're doing that. You could label diagrams, for example, in a science class. The key, though, is not to copy out the labels you already have on a diagram. You have to put your notes away and do it from memory. Remembering or retrieval is really good for your brain. It makes you kind of struggle to find the information in your brain, and that helps you remember it. Of course, if you're in science or math or chemistry, anything like that, you need to do lots and lots of practice questions. Hard questions, not just the easy questions. Sure, your teacher will give you review materials, but remember, you have lots of past tests, quizzes, and homework you can redo. Redo, do being the key word. So those are just a few examples of active study techniques. Notice I'm not saying read your textbook over, and I'm not saying copy your notes over and highlight keywords. Those are not active techniques. You may have multiple exams. That is okay. It does not need to scare you. The best research says that you should study in small amounts spaced out over time. So if you haven't been studying at all this whole year, for you 15 minutes might be a good place to start. You can build that up to 30, then you can get to 60, but nobody is saying you should sit for 4 to 8 hours and study one subject the night before. That's not actually good studying technique. Mix your subjects up. Don't stay on one for too long. That's what the research tells us. It's good for your brain. Again, if you haven't been doing any studying all semester long, then start with 15 minutes. Build up 30, then 60. You can have a break, a short break, as long as you come back from your break. Remember, all of this helps you to retrieve information from your brain. It helps you remember. It is really important to say that you're totally wasting your time if you're checking your phone while you're doing this. All research tells us that you need to be focused on the task when you're studying, otherwise you won't learn it. So take that very seriously. Don't have your phone near you. Put it away out of sight while you're studying, otherwise you're wasting your time, and we don't want to do that. Try to remember that stress is a normal part of life. It's okay to be nervous, worried, or even stressed. It is something we all experience. We're going to give you more information in the future on ways that you can cope with and manage your stress. You don't need to look at exams as something to fear. You should also remember that sleep is really, really important. No matter what your friends tell you, cramming, staying up the night before, and studying for a long time, it doesn't actually work. Your brain needs rest in order to learn. A lot of things happen in your brain at night when you're sleeping, so really, really work on getting your 7 or 8 hours of sleep, especially before the exam. Just to give you more information so you'll understand what's going on and you don't need to be freaked out, your teacher will decide how long your exam is going to be. It depends. The teacher will decide. It could be 1 hour, 1.5 hours, or 2 hours. And then on top of whatever that time is, everybody gets 30 extra minutes. If you have an IEP, you may have longer. Your exam may be written in your classroom, or it could be in a room like Titan Hall where a bunch of classes might be writing at the same time. Or your exam could be in your class before the exam schedule starts. That's called an in-class exam. You may have 2 exams on one day. It is possible. The schedule cannot accommodate every single person. If you don't have an exam on an exam day, you don't have to come to school. This is just a brief little introduction so you can start thinking about this, manage your stress, try not to worry or fear. If you have any questions, you can email me, Ms. Gluskin. My email is here, and I look forward to hearing you, and we'll provide you with more information as we get closer to exam time. Thanks. Have a great day.